I thought I deleted that file. I really did. Megan, I'd like to see you right after the program. Happy Friday, everybody. It is the 25th day of January 2019. She's laughing in my earpiece. Oh, my. You know, Megan's been producing this show now for a couple of months. Took over from Kat, who's been reassigned to better duties and having to hang out with me at the early hours of the morning. And I was hoping, against hope apparently, that that particular file of me embarrassing myself was somehow just 86'd, kind of disappeared. Apparently that's not the case. If you're really good at hiding files, and Kat is really good at hiding files, all you have to do is know where to find it, I guess. I'm in a good mood. What are we doing? It's Friday. Happy Friday. Great show for you today. Lots going on, lots in the news, lots in sports. We got live sports tonight and tomorrow, by the way. We'll be at Wenatchee High School tonight. Wenatchee taking on the Sunnyside Grizzlies. Girls-boys doubleheader. We'll take to the air at 5:30. Eric Grandstrom on the call tonight. And then tomorrow night, because it's Eastmont and Wenatchee doing battle, boink, boink, we got the big team going at it. We have Eric and Grant calling the game. That's tomorrow night right here on the NCW Live channel. Lots going on. My guest in the second half of the program, the mayor of Rock Island, making his debut on this program, Randy Agnew, will be dropping by to talk all things Rock Island. They got some big things in the hopper. That'll be a great conversation. Plus, your weather forecast is looking pretty good. Passes are looking really good. No problems at all there. We have the obscure holiday. We have birthdays. We have Today in History. We have Everyone is Entitled to Mike McNally's Opinion. And we have Dan doing this to start the show. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi High-Speed Wireless, and that is, of course, downtown Wenatchee. I think the cross camera is fogged over again. I'm pretty sure about that. So we try to give you something that you can actually look at instead of a fog bank, which isn't particularly visually exciting. Downtown Wenatchee. Good morning. Mission Street to your left, the avenue on your right. It looks like a pretty light commute so far on this Friday. As we get so closer to February, which takes us to March, which takes us to April, which takes us to spring, which can't come soon enough for me. Camera 2, where are we going, Megan? Megan says we're going to, that's Blag, I'm thinking. That's Blag Mountain up there above Peshastin, looking over towards the Leavenworth area. It looks a little windy there. Of course, that's an exposed ridge, and it's also way up there in elevation. Blag Mountain, and covered in the low clouds and the fog is the Bavarian village of Leavenworth. That's Blag Mountain, of course, named after Blag Mountain. Camera number 3. We're taking a trip to Omi Gardens. Wow, oh me, oh my, there's Omi Gardens. That's a good looking shot there. And you can see now why we're not using the cross camera. It is completely fogged over. Even though Omi Gardens camera, the one that you're looking at, is pretty much the same elevation. It doesn't seem to have any problems at all. The Otabashian Bridge, the Stimmill Complex, Old Station Industrial Area. You can see Eastmont Avenue. There you go, good shot from Omi Gardens. And finally, camera 4 is, well, that has to be Billy Goat. You can almost make out Pateros. You really can. There's the Alta Lake Golf Course at the very bottom of your screen, covered in snow. Very depressing for us duffers. But not for me. I'm going to head south and play golf here in a couple of weeks. I'm looking forward to that. So, and once again, that little bump that you see in the middle of your screen is Mount Kalispell in beautiful Canada. It's about the same elevation as that camera, just about 7,000 feet. So there's our views from around the Wenatchee Valley. That's some spectacular stuff. I love those cameras. For a lot of people, that's the highlight of the show. 4 minutes after the hour, let's do your forecast from the National Weather Service. We were supposed to have some sun breaks yesterday afternoon. It was supposed to get up to about 40. That didn't happen at all. We only hit 31. So for the first time in a long time, we were actually below normal. Our normal high for this time of the year is 36, but we never got up there. It kind of just hung around right at 30 or 31 for the whole day today. We are supposed to see some sunshine. It looks like we already have some clouds and fog burning off. So look for quite a bit of sunshine today. High will be in the lower 40s. Patchy freezing fog forms tonight. Outside of that, mostly clear. 31 for the overnight low. We do it all over again on Saturday, except we'll have a few more clouds on Saturday. We're gonna say cloudy for the most part, and a high of 41 on Saturday. Saturday night, patchy fog reforms. And then it kind of departs Saturday night and early Sunday morning, 32 for the overnight low. Sunday, patchy freezing fog in the morning, burns off to sunshine in the afternoon. 46 for the high Sunday. That might be a little optimistic for the National Weather Service, but it's not a bad looking weekend at all. Sunshine Monday, sunshine Tuesday. You'll notice it cools down a little bit. We got some cooler air coming down from Canada, which is going to cool us down by the middle of next week. That high pressure ridge, which is dominating our area, has not only strengthened, but it's actually moved right over the Evergreen State. So that's not a bad forecast. I can live with that. Absolutely zero snow at all in the forecast. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. And now at 5 minutes after the hour to the major mountain passes we go, and this isn't going to take very long because everybody's fine. No problems at all. I-90. Oh, Megan's has to bring the cameras up real quick. We're going to show you some live shots of I-90 where there are no advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and dry. No problems at all there. On Stevens Pass, no advisories, no restrictions. Roadway is bare with frost and ice in places. You actually don't have to show the cameras if you don't want to, Megan, because there's nothing really to show. No advisories, no restrictions across the board on all the major mountain passes. In fact, I have the forecast for the Cascades right here. There you go. There's a live shot of Stevens. There's I-90, and there's blue. I told you there's really not a lot to look at right now. Nothing at all. Zero snow in the forecast for the Cascades all the way through Wednesday. So no advisories, no restrictions across the board, nor is there any expected. Passes are just mighty fine indeed. There you go. So your weather forecast and your pass report in the books at 6 minutes after the hour. We're going to take a quick, still going through it. Okay, there's blue. We get it now. Oh. If Randy Agnew wasn't coming in, I'd just say throw in a rerun and we could just go home. We're going to take a quick 1 minute break. When we come back, the news, and there's a lot to get to on this Friday. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Lacey Haggerty, and I'm a nurse midwife with Columbia Valley Community Health. I love all aspects of my job because it is a profession that's very committed to empowering women to make decisions in their health care that feel best for them. It's incredibly valuable to me as a midwife that I get to take care of women throughout their whole lifespan. I hope to see you at a future visit because I know you'll love having midwifery care.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate Frappuccino.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha Frappitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Welcome back to this Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Overcast, not too thick, some patchy fog, 28 degrees. We'll see sunshine for the most part today and a high of 42. Here's what's making headlines on this Friday. Chelan County Public Works began brooming this week on Mission Ridge Road after receiving reports from drivers who have found a tar-like substance on their vehicles after traveling on the roadway. The reports of road tar comes after county crews not only re-chip sealed the road, but also sampled and performed additional testing of the oil used in the chip sealing process. The 2018 chip seal was also completed earlier in the season. That allowed for more curing time before fall and winter, but apparently, and to a lesser extent, the problem's back. County Works officials say a possible cause for the oil particulate on the roadway may be that cars' snow tires and county snowplows are grinding the fresh emulsion off the roadway. That brings up some fine particulates. Motorists traveling on the roads are cautioned to avoid driving in pools of water or running water when safe to do so, to minimize the potential of the particulate spraying onto their vehicles. Well, passengers on a Horizon Airlines flight into Pangborn Memorial Airport late on Sunday night found themselves first in a lengthy holding pattern, and then they had to return to Seattle so the plane could refuel. The problem? The runway lights at Pangborn were out. NCW Live News Director Cal Fitzsimmons talked with Airport Operations Manager Ron Russ about what exactly went wrong.
As the Horizon aircraft was on final approach, they attempted to increase the intensity of the airport lights. The lights can be controlled by a pilot when they're on final approach to adjust the intensity based on their needs. When they did that, it shocked the current regulator that controls the output to the airport lights, and a capacitor in that regulator failed.
What happens when something like that takes place? What's the airport response?
Well, the airport has personnel on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And in that situation, we received a phone call from Horizon's dispatch as well as Seattle Air Route Traffic Control Center, and we had personnel respond immediately to try and resolve the issue.
And how long did it take someone to get here and figure out what the problem was?
Approximately 20 minutes or so.
And from there, how long to correct that problem?
I believe it took us, once we identified the issue, which took about 5 minutes or so, took us about 40 minutes or so to replace the affected capacitor.
Now, my understanding is this is not the first time this has happened. In fact, it happened earlier this month. Was it the same sort of situation?
It was a similar situation. In that case, there was another aircraft on approach to the airport. Again, likely when they tried to increase the intensity of those runway lights, a capacitor failed, literally exploded, and the regulator shut itself off. It went into a protective mode. It sensed that something wasn't right, and it shut itself off. In that situation, again, we received a phone call. It was after normal work hours. We responded to the airport, and we were able to just turn the regulator back on, and so there was a minimal delay in that situation.
And prior to that, has this happened before?
Yeah, I think the last time we had a capacitor fail like that in one of our airfield regulators was about 4 to 5 years ago.
And is there something that can be done to prevent this from happening in the future?
Just good preventative maintenance, and we have a regular preventative maintenance schedule where we replace those capacitors about every 3 years. We have 3 regulators. We replace the capacitors in 1 regulator each year, so we get on that 3-year cycle to try and prevent this from happening.
Had you replaced all those capacitors after the first incident earlier this month?
We replaced the affected capacitor during that first incident, but we did not have enough capacitors on hand to replace all of them. We have ordered them after that incident, but they were back ordered at the time. So we do have a shipment due in tomorrow, actually, to be able to replace all of those capacitors.
Is it common for an airport to have this sort of runway system where pilots control the runway lights?
It's very common at uncontrolled airports or airports without an air traffic control tower. At airports with an air traffic control tower, the lights are generally turned up and down by the air traffic controllers in the tower.
Who made the decision for the Horizon airplane to return to Seattle for refueling?
That was the airline's decision based on our anticipated time to get the runway lights returned to service and how much fuel they had on board, I would expect.
Over $200,000 in funding has been awarded by the Washington State Department of Natural Resources for 2 major forest health projects in Chelan County. The money is part of the $1.8 million in grants to be shared by 9 organizations across the state, including the Chumstick Wildfire Stewardship Coalition in Leavenworth and the Stamil Partnership. The Chumstick Group was awarded $100,000 to help plan and conduct forest thinning projects. The group will also receive $25,000 for community outreach efforts. The Stamil Partnership received $107,198 for forest health treatment and $6,920 for community outreach. In Central and Eastern Washington, the collaboratives that received grant funding are working with high-priority watersheds identified in the Department of Natural Resources' 20-year Forest Health Strategic Plan. Speaking of the health of the forests, a video produced by the Washington State Department of Natural Resources explains how last summer's Cougar Creek fire, which burned more than 4,000 acres, was prevented from spreading into the Lake Chelan area by a prescribed burn done years ago. The DNR says it's an example of forest health treatment in action.
It was on the Cougar Creek fire in between Leavenworth and Indiana, Washington. We had multiple fire activity days where we had the fire intensity pick up and press our control lines. It slopped over further to the east and then wrapped around on some private land and pressed back up there, but we had a big pocket of unburned fuels in there. Later we were able to get a fuels map, and there had been fuels treatment in there that they had done a prescribed fire about 8 to 10 years before, and it did not carry fire through there. So that pocket of fuels we were able to anchor into a road and use that as a control point, and then punch line down to the Indiana River drainage, which allowed us to keep the fire from getting established in that Tyee drainage. These fuel treatment areas give us a safe place to fall back to get anchored in and to re-engage and to then have a safe anchor point to work from. But if it would have continued back up the Iniat drainage to the west, it would have got into heavier fuels and then would have been able to push over towards Lake Chelan, Stehekin, and that area. So this control line that we were able to establish and put in was able to cut the fire off from progressing further up the Iniat drainage and causing a lot more issues for the community.
In the early morning hours yesterday, several groups of volunteers under the direction of the city of Wenatchee ventured out throughout the area to connect with local homeless persons. Yesterday morning's event was in conjunction with a national point-in-time count of sheltered and unsheltered homeless to conduct a census.
I've been there, you know, I've struggled with drug addiction my whole life, and I've been homeless. I've lived on the streets, I've lived in hotels, you know, in and out of prison. And, you know, I just, when I got clean, I got this compassion back in me to help other people. My name is Victor Estrada. I work for the Women's Resource Center. I do homeless outreach. So I started off working at the Bruce, and I was a resident coordinator. The position came open. It was something that I did on my own. In the wintertime, I would take sweatshirts in my car, blankets, beanies, and gloves, some hygiene supplies, and I would just hand them out. And then I told my boss knew that I was doing that. So when the position became open, she asked me if I wanted to step into the position. Today we're doing the pig count. It's a nationwide event where we go around and we count the homeless people in the community so we can get more resources for funding, grant money, RFPs. It's just more money to help the people in the community. So today we're going to be driving around. We got 3 cars. 2 of them are going to be doing the south end of Wenatchee with the homeless shelters, just doing street outreach. And then there's going to be a team that's going to be doing East Wenatchee and North Wenatchee, North Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. And we're just going to go around and ask some questions to the homeless people, and actually, you know, just take little surveys, and then we use that for the numbers so we can turn them into commerce. Yeah. So in our car, we got hygiene items, we got razors, we got a few blankets, we got some jackets, we got socks, we got underwear, pocket warmers, we got a couple tarps, some rain ponchos. Yeah, and that's pretty much what we got. But at the community center, they're going to be giving out more stuff there. We're also going to be doing, I'll be doing chili and soup, you know, crackers, snacks. Central Washington Hospital is supposed to have a mobile unit out there. DSHS is supposed to have a mobile unit out there. And then I think a few different organizations are going to have tables set up there for resources. A lot of the people, you know, coming out, one guy I'm dealing with right now, just recently out of prison. Most people, you know, they lose their homes, they can't afford rent. You know, it's just like hard times right now. And a lot of people get out here, and once they get out, it's a struggle to get back, you know, into regular housing, you know, getting jobs, employment. You know, it's really hard. There's no like low barrier shelter in the community, so it's really hard for people to get a, you know, a hand up. I found that the best thing to do is just like when you stop, you see somebody and you talk to them and treat them that they're human. It just makes them, it just gives them hope. You know, it puts a smile on their face. I mean, I'll sit there and talk to some guys 45 minutes to an hour sometimes, and just talk to them about how life's going and their struggles. And when you give them stuff, I got called Santa Claus all winter, so you know it's pretty awesome to see just that little glimmer of hope in their faces.
Tonight on the NCW Life Channel Evening News, we'll talk more about the annual point-in-time count with City of Wenatchee's Oliver Crane. And finally, what's going on this weekend? I never know, but Megan does. What's happening this weekend? Here's our very own Megan McPherson.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Timber Winter Music Festival is this Friday through Saturday in the Leavenworth Fest Hall. Created as the winter counterpart to the very successful Timber Outdoor Music Festival, Timber is 2 days and nights of music and wintertime fun. Head to Chelan for the final weekend of Lake Chelan Winterfest. Nestled among the snow-capped hilltops and glacier-fed waters of Lake Chelan, Winterfest is the perfect escape to a Washington winter wonderland. Come for wine and ale tastings, horse-drawn carriages, intricate ice sculptures, live music, activities for kids of all ages, a massive beach bonfire, spectacular fireworks show, and much more. Chicks on Sticks is this Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Leavenworth Fish Hatchery. The only rule is mandatory pink, and the goal is to have fun and bring more awareness to breast cancer. Proceeds will be donated to the Wellness Place in Wenatchee, which provides direct services for breast cancer awareness. Men and boys are welcome to join the fun. And finally, the Building Communities Auction presented by Wenatchee Rotary is this Saturday at the Wenatchee Convention Center. Wenatchee Rotary is helping build the BMX pump track at Lincoln Park, and there will be scholarships for students and many other great community projects. The doors open at 5:30 p.m. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Another busy weekend for lots of things to do for folks out there in North Central Washington. Don't forget the news comes your way with Grant Olson tonight at 5 o'clock. And then, 7-ish or so. We have high school basketball tonight. So what we do when we have high school basketball on Friday night, we give you the news with Grant at 5 o'clock. Then we'll air the girls, Wenatchee girls taking on the Sunnyside Grizzlies. And then between the girls and the boys game, we cram in the newscast again. So that's kind of a fluid time, 7-ish or so, give or take a couple. And then we'll have it for you again at 10 o'clock tonight. So again, 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock for sure. And then between the girls and the boys game tonight, the news with Grant Olson, with Eric, handling sports. Speaking of sports, that's next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Put winter weather in its place with a new Cub Cadet snow thrower from Rose Tractor. Hi, this is Corey. Let us help you get through the season with our line of Cub Cadet snow throwers. When it comes to snow, never let winter weather get in your way. The Cub Cadet X Series line of snow throwers offers 3 levels of snow clearing power and a host of award-winning models. Get ahead of the snow. Let us help you get into the right snow thrower for the job. Rose Tractor, family owned and operated, located at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
And we're back here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 22 minutes after the hour. Let's do sports. It's that time of the year. We begin to shift our attention to college basketball as the season begins to wind towards tournament play. And in the Les Schwab scoreboard from last night, every single Gonzaga starter scored in double figures. That is not a typo. Can you believe that score? They wiped out Santa Clara. The Bulldogs did, 98-39. Very exciting game down in Eugene. Jalen Noel scored 20 points, capped by 3 free throws with just second and a half left, and that gave Washington the victory over the Ducks, 61-56. Stephen Thompson Jr., 22 points with 4 three-pointers, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. Unfortunately, Mr. Thompson plays for Oregon State, and the Cougars lost again. Cougars are really struggling this year. And then Big Sky play, Portland State topped Eastern Washington, 78-65. That's men's. First, now we'll go to the women's Les Schwab scoreboard from last night. The Gonzaga women improved to 18-2 on the season, 7-1 in West Coast Conference play. A nice 78-51 win over San Francisco, and Eastern Washington fell at home to Portland State, 76-64. The Wenatchee girls bowling team earned the right to host the District 6 championships today at Eastmont Lanes because they won the regular season championship. So it's West Valley, Sunnyside, Moses Lake, Eisenhower, Davis, Eastmont, and Wenatchee in East Wenatchee this morning at 11 o'clock. The format has the ladies bowling 3 regular games and then 7 Bakers. Only Wenatchee, Eisenhower, Eastmont, and Moses Lake will compete for the 2 allocations to state as a team. The rest of the top 10 girls from the Big 9 will bowl on 3 games to determine individual seeding for state. To the prep schedule as we go. For tonight in girls basketball, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have the crew at Wenatchee High School tonight. Panthers and Sunnyside. It begins with the girls game. They tip off at 5:45. Eastmont's on the road to Moses Lake. Cascade hosts Chelan, and at 6 is Waterville Mansfield at Tenasket. The boys' schedule, same thing as the girls, just a little bit later. Chelan at Cascade. We'll have the Wenatchee and Sunnyside boys at about 7:30 here on the NCW Live channel. Moses Lake hosts Eastmont. Waterville Mansfield is at Tenasket, also at 7:30. The Wenatchee Wild going to try and snap their 2-game losing skid tonight. Langley's in town, the Rivermen. The 2 teams will drop the puck at 7:05 at the Town Toyota Center. Tomorrow, the defending national champion Chilliwack Chiefs pay us a visit, and they'll be going at 7:05. Pretty skimpy weekend, by the way, on the prep schedule. Believe it or not, that's it. We will be courtside, by the way, with the handsome and debonair Grant Olson and the even more handsome and more debonair Eric Grandstrom will be at Eastmont High School. The Wildcats host the Wenatchee Panthers. 5:45 in girls play, Waterville-Mansfield back home to take on Orville. And then in boys play, we'll have the Wildcats and the Panthers at about 7:30. The Hornets and Shockers also tip it up at 7:30. And that are just some of the games that people are playing. Look at that sunrise. Wow. That is just spectacular. 25 minutes after the hour, it's time for the Obscura holiday. Today is Opposite Day. It's National Opposite Day. Yeah, ever wanted to be a rebel like me? Now's your chance. You can do everything, I don't want to say the wrong way, just the other way. And celebrating Opposite Day is not easy because you have to do everything opposite of what you would normally do on a normal day. In fact, there's an interesting paradox to this. I thought about this right before we went on the air. Technically, Opposite Day can't exist because if you say today is Opposite Day and it's Opposite Day, that means by the rules of Opposite Day, it's actually Normal Day. I think I just gave myself a headache. Happy Opposite Day today. Or should I say, have a lousy Opposite Day? Or let's move on to the day in history. 3 Super Bowls were played on this date, including that one 38 years ago today, January 25th, 1981. The Oakland Raiders defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10 to win Super Bowl XV, also known as Super Bowl 15 at Nolans. The Raiders became the first wild-card team to win the Super Bowl with that victory, and the Raiders became the first team to avenge a regular season loss in the Super Bowl. The Eagles beat the Raiders 10-7 back on November 23rd of that year, the 38th anniversary of Super Bowl 15. Today is the 32nd anniversary of Super Bowl XXI, Super Bowl 21. The Giants defeat the Broncos 39-20 at the Rose Bowl. MVP Phil Simms, the first athlete to say, "I'm going to Disneyland." They don't do that anymore. And of course, the Gatorade shower, the famous dumping of the Gatorade on the coach's head, made its national debut at the end of Super Bowl XXI. And today is the 21st anniversary of Super Bowl XXXII, Super Bowl 32. The Broncos beat the Packers. The final was 31-24 at Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego. It was the first Super Bowl win for an AFC team in 14 years. Qualcomm Stadium became the first and remains to this day the only stadium to host a Super Bowl and a World Series in the same year. And a remarkable fact about Denver's offensive performance: they had 2 penalties, and the end of the game and at the end of the half, John Elway took a knee. Outside of that, every offensive play that the Broncos ran, they gained yards on. They did not lose yardage on any play from scrimmage except for the 2 penalties and the 2 kneel downs. That's pretty impressive. And finally, at 27 minutes after the hour, let's do some birthdays. A lot of people consider this gentleman the greatest long-distance runner this country has ever produced. Steve Prefontaine, who died in a car accident at the age of 24 back in 1975. At one time in the early 1970s, Steve Prefontaine held the American record in 7 different distance track events from the 2,000 meters all the way to the 10,000 meters. Ironically enough, though, he never won an Olympic medal. Steve Prefontaine, born in this state in 1951. And Alicia Keys. She can sing, she can write songs, she writes all of her own material. She's a great piano player, dabbles in acting every once in a while. She has 15 Grammy Awards. It's 15 more than I got. Alicia Keys. Happy birthday to Alicia. I forgot how old she is. She's 38 today and looking good. 28 minutes after the hour, going to take a break. When we come back, the mayor of Rock Island, Randy Agnew, will be joining us. Don't go anywhere. This could be a great conversation. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Friday edition on the NCW Life Channel.
Walkabout Grill, open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner in downtown Wenatchee and now downtown Leavenworth, where eating out is eating healthy.
Hi, I'm Kevin Prosser, and this is my print shop, Color Effects in Cashmere. Color Effects offers screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing on t-shirts, jerseys, bags, banners, signs, and more. With 30 years experience, you won't be disappointed with the quality and quick turnaround times you will get at more than a fair price. Please call Color FX.
Antique Mall at Cashmere wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. With 15,000 square feet to explore, Antique Mall at Cashmere has something for everyone. For repurposing projects, do-it-yourselfers, and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, this is the place to find your next project. Antique Mall at Cashmere, their friendly staff is here to help you. Stop on by today.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Since 1932, Camp Seneca, nestled on the beautiful shores of Lake Wenatchee, has provided children grades 1 through 12 with the ideal location for kids to learn new skills, have fun, and make friends while creating memories that will last a lifetime. Camp Seneca's rustic log cabins and their staff serve to provide each group a unique summer camp experience. Register for Camp Seneca today, www.campfirencw.org.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, like I've said before, 75% of folks here in the good old USA call ourselves Christian. Well, that's fine, I guess. But what's really tragic is there are people who don't realize that the true test of loving and sacrificing for others, doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, etc., is first and foremost to be displayed at home to your families. It doesn't matter who outside of your family thinks you're a great person. If your spouse and your kids don't think so, or if your parents or your siblings think that you're a jerk, you're missing it. You know, if your Christianity and if your love for fellow man isn't first and foremost demonstrated to those who are closest to you, let's face it, it's meaningless. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV Advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week and let's get inspired.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, making his very first appearance on this program, and that's my bad. I should have had Randy on a long time ago because we love Rock Island. The mayor of Rock Island himself, His Honor, Randy Agnew, is joining me in the studio. How are you, bud?
Good.
Thanks for doing this. Before we get going, all first-timers get the same question from me. Tell the folks about Randy Agnew, what you do, all that good stuff.
I'm a computer programmer. I've had my own business for about 20-some years. I write accounting systems for businesses, and now I'm the mayor of Rock Island.
Mayor of Rock Island,
This
yes.
is my 4th year, beginning of my 4th year. The first 3 years have gone by quite fast. I'm beginning to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
Well, my brother's the mayor of Wenatchee, and he still hasn't figured it out, and he's on his 2nd term.
He's helped me a little bit, telling me what to do.
That's good. Yeah, he likes to do that with me, too, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. When you ran for mayor against, I want to say, Rusty Clark, is that right?
Correct.
Were you solicited? Did some residents come to you as a resident of Rock Island and say, oh, we'd like you and you might be a good mayor? Would you consider running, or did you just throw your own hat into the ring?
Actually, a neighbor about 3 houses down, he bugged me for a couple years to get on the council. And finally I did. And after 4.5 years on the council, I thought, why not run for mayor?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Rock Island has been going great guns recently, especially with the improvement to the infrastructure, which we all know was badly needed. Do residents in the North Central Washington area kind of just think as Rock Island is almost an afterthought?
I think they have for a long time.
Yeah. How are we going to change that?
And it has been an afterthought for a long time.
How do we change that perception?
I think it's beginning to change now. I'd like to take credit for it all, but I can't. My predecessors, they put in the sewer plant and the sewer system, and that has really made Rock Island appealable for developers with low land prices and the sewer available. So we've got a lot of builders out there, John Port, Jeff Tyree, and Stymac.
Getting very aggressive with land acquisition and building, bringing
Yes.
in their houses and putting them up. And
Stymac is going to start a 80-plus home development this spring. John Port has about 140 homes, of which he's built probably 50 of them so far, and already approved. And
well, I can see the appeal: cheap electricity, cheap land, and now a sewer system. So you have the necessary infrastructure because everybody was on septic, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that just septic systems eventually fail.
yes, and Rock Island's kind of a pond
Yeah.
that we live on.
Yeah.
And the septic system is feeding into the water system, which we're then pulling out and
And doing other things with it.
Right.
Yeah, don't eat the fish that you
Right.
catch there. You don't know what it's been eating itself. Were the residents pretty much all for it? Do they understand that this really, for Rock Island to grow and thrive and move forward, that they had to go ahead and tax themselves and make this happen, to put in sewers, put in sidewalks, that kind of stuff?
I'm not sure they were all that thrilled about it. And they didn't really, I don't believe, have much of an option, a choice in the matter when the sewer system initially went in.
Yeah, and that's, again, I mean, it's if you don't put in a sewer system, your septic system is gonna fail.
Right.
And it's gonna be money out of your pocket to replace it. So.
Yes. And at this point, it's cheaper to hook up to the sewer than it is to replace your sewer system.
Just on a side note, I love what they did to the golf course, by the way. Yes, I just love it. I know you don't own it, but it's
Actually, the city does own the first 9.
The front 9, and then the back 9 out in the orchard is. It's a very fun golf course to play, and it wasn't always the case, but now it is.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. So especially the back 9, it's tough. It's not easy.
I'm not a golfer.
So we'll get you out there. You should get out there and do that.
I'll go out and hit a bucket of balls with you, but when I golf, it's hit it and go look for it. And
Yeah, that's pretty much
That's not
it.
that entertaining.
You had a big city council meeting last night.
Yes.
It was a big one. Talk about it. What was on the agenda and what was on your mind?
What we had was a presentation by the Douglas County Port District on our industrial development district area, which is all the land on the riverside of the highway. It's about 200 acres, and they've been working for the past year developing a master site plan and going through the SEPA process and stuff for that. And it was an update on that. And things are going well. We should finalize everything probably about March, and then we can start moving forward with actually doing something.
There is that old abandoned, rusted out plant there. I remember it when it was Hannah Mining, and before that it was something else. I can't remember.
Keokuk.
Thank you, Keokuk. It's been mothballed, shut down for about 20 years now. I want to say 99, right around there, 98, 99.
Somewhere in that area
is when they shut it down, and it just sits there,
right,
rusting away. It's a tremendously great piece of land, right on the river, 200 acres.
Yep.
So talk through the process when somebody said, we should do something with that building. I mean, it just sits there, and this whole area is nice. Why don't we do something with it?
Again, that was Lisa Park's basic idea. And the silicon plant is about 65 acres out of the total IDD area of 200 acres. But she got a IPG grant, it's called, $200,000 to revitalize brownfield areas, unused things such as the silicon plant. And that's what kicked off the process. And she also got a $50,000 grant recently to look at repurposing the old buildings, and hired the same architects that did Pybus.
Oh, smart move there.
Yes, and they thought that was the coolest building they'd ever seen.
I've never been inside that building. What is it? What's it like?
It's pretty neat. It has 3 levels inside. On the main floor, I think at the center of the roof, it's kind of like a cathedral. It's about 70 feet up. Has big gantries, which are still there, and concrete floors. There's big round pools, holes actually where the old smelters were, but the smelters have been taken out, and it's very cool looking.
So with Pybus as an inspiration, and you go into this ginormously large building, the light bulb goes off. What do we do with this? How do we repurpose this building to bring business and people to it?
Right. Well, the option was either tear them down and build new, or it turns out with these buildings it'd be cheaper to repurpose them than to tear them down. And you got, I forget how many, I think there's like 13,000 square feet or 30,000 square feet of the main floor of the main building. So there's a lot of room in there, and it allows for a lot of possibilities.
Well, Mayor Agnew, talk about those possibilities. What would you like to see in that whole industrial area, the 200 acres you referred to, and that old smelter specifically?
What we're looking at, us, Rock Island and the Port District, is appealing to some of the high power users. Data centers, I know Bitcoin has kind of fallen out of favor, but Bitcoin is based on blockchain technology. Blockchain is not going away. And so we want to bring some of those people there. They're already interested in the site already. Put in a substation, probably 50 to 100 megawatts, and then use the building as all sorts of things. But one of the things is an innovation center, and we're working with Wenatchee Valley College to do training for people that would work in blockchain or data centers or whatever. And basically high tech. Again, there's some of it will be used, a lot of it is under power lines. There's a lot of power lines that run through there, so you can't build under them. But we can build parks, soccer fields, baseball fields, that sort of thing. And then the Riverfront Park, down along the river.
It is, the riverfront at Rock Island is terribly underused. It's not used at all, quite
No.
frankly. When people think of water, Rock Island, they think of the ponds.
Right.
You know, going fishing and all that other stuff. They don't think about, because you can't get to it. You got the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, and you got that big building, and it's just this great big, don't come in here kind of message that you get from the other side of the tracks, doesn't it?
Right.
And
well, the silicon plant area is kind of fenced off, so
right.
You're not supposed to be in there.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. You obviously mentioned that Bitcoin is taking some significant PR hits. Certainly, what's going on with what happened with Gigawatt up there near the Pangborn Memorial Airport, and they're kind of gone.
Unfortunate demise.
Yeah, that does that concern you at all? Or are you in blockchain all the way and that kind of deal as far as possible usage? For that building?
Blockchain and other data center type things, but blockchain was developed by the people who invented Bitcoin. That's what makes Bitcoin possible. And if you look at the industry players, all the big ones, HP, IBM, Apple, everybody, they're all teaming up, working on blockchain projects. Ford and, I can't remember which one it was, they went together and they developed a blockchain system for tracking the lithium that's used in the electric car batteries, and to make sure that the lithium was not mined by slave labor.
Ah, okay.
So again, and that's all built on blockchain. Blockchain is not going away.
Bitcoin, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Agnew, is proprietary, right? I mean, is that one of the major issues with Bitcoin?
I don't know if it's proprietary.
Yeah.
I don't know about the ownership of it.
Just curious about that. So there's some myths and misconceptions that you want to dispel, and that is data centers don't bring jobs. You hear about what's going on out in Quincy. Yahoo and Microsoft and all of these big companies came in and took advantage of, again, bountiful land, cheap land, major source of electricity they can tap right into, and they can build these big data centers. And the word is they come in, they build them, and then the people who build them move away, and then the people who actually have to run it don't really have to do much of anything, and so therefore there's not a lot of jobs. You have some numbers to prove otherwise.
Yes, this was put together by Ron Crittlebaugh of the Port of Douglas County, and it shows various statistics of the Quincy area since the data centers have gone in.
Right.
One of them is annual taxable retail sales from 2004 to 2017. Up until 2004, they were declining for Quincy every year, and they hit the low in 2004 of about 63,000. And in 2017, they were 416,000.
That's big.
That's big.
Yeah. And you see the dip on the screen there. That's 09 and 2010 when we had the recession and everybody's retail sales went down.
Partly that, partly the first spike came from the building and buying the building materials and construction, and it dropped off a bit 2000, like you said, 9 and 10. And then the next part is building and also the actual using of them, renting them out. The lower part of the chart shows the Quincy levy rate on property taxes, and from 2007 it was $3 and something per thousand assessed value. As of 2018, it's 1.5 per thousand, and those property taxes have gone from $856,000 in 2007 to $4.2 million in 2018.
And that's money that's going into the coffers of the city of Quincy.
Yes.
Which is why they're building sidewalks and libraries and really...
And the nicest high school in the state.
A beautiful new high school. It's all because this money is flowing into the Quincy coffers, courtesy of the data centers.
Correct. On the flip side of the...
And we have the flip side as well.
So on here, I thought this was pretty good. You were talking about employment. Now, all the firms that have data centers up there, they don't all have to report their employees, but of those that did, I think there was 14 of them. They had 821 full-time employees. 86% of those make $62,000 or more per year, and 96% of them are full-time and eligible for retirement benefits. So 821, you know, I put it in comparison with Alcoa. Alcoa had what, 400 and some employees? And those are decent paying jobs.
Yeah, very well.
Well, this is 821, 85% making $62,000 or more. You know, to us, Alcoa was a big deal. This is just as big a deal, if not bigger.
What your background in computer programming, does that play a significant role in this when you're trying to convince the people of Rock Island this is the way to go? Look what Quincy did. Look at Quincy was farm country, farm and shipping and ag chemicals, things like that.
Right.
But they grabbed the bull by the horns and said, you know, we need to move forward and expand our economic base. How are you going to be able to sell this to the residents of your fine hamlet?
I think so. It's not just Rock Island, but all of the greater Wenatchee area. To me, not because I'm a programmer, but because I'm familiar with the tech industry, if you look at Silicon Valley and what happened down there, that started because they built a chip manufacturing plant. Well, I don't know how many employees a chip manufacturing plant, you know, uses, but look at what happened. The chip manufacturing plants were the anchor, and then all the rest of the industry built up around them because the chips are built there. And I see the data centers as the same opportunity for our valley. They are the anchor, and then I want to bring in the programmers and the educational facilities and the other software companies that use those data centers. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for our valley. We've all seen, when I grew up here, it was mostly orchards.
Yeah.
Well, we're watching the orchards disappear, and ag is still important, but we're transitioning. And it's my opinion that we should be looking at a high-tech, clean jobs, not old factories, smoky factories like Keokuk was, but looking at what's the future.
Well, as these numbers show that Randy brought, Quincy's swimming in dough, and they're reinvesting it back into the community. Now, you talked earlier about the importance of infrastructure. You had to build a sewer system, or Rock Island was going to stake itself right out of business. You've done that. Pie in the sky. This happens. It becomes an attractive place for these technology companies to come and go, and all of a sudden Rock Island's levy rates start going down, and Rock Island starts having money in the coffers. What then? What would you like to do with that, Mayor Agnew, if in fact this dream comes true?
I would like to see Rock Island, obviously it's going to be, it has been and will continue to be somewhat of a bedroom community for the greater Wenatchee area. But have you ever been to Sandpoint, Idaho? Mm-hmm. Sandpoint's a neat little town. You can walk around in the evening during the summer, and there's a little band playing here in the park, band playing there. We could make Rock Island a really nice little community for that sort of thing. Have a nice little downtown center. We're looking at, the city council and I, we've been kicking around the idea of a theme for Rock Island. We've got the Bavarian Village, which worked quite well for Leavenworth.
It basically saved Leavenworth is what it did.
And Leavenworth is now swimming in money. But caused some traffic problems, but at least we have a highway running right by us instead of through us.
Right.
Anyway, that's some ideas we've been kicking around.
And feedback, so I know this is all new to the folks at Rock Island, and most people by nature are NIMBYs. I like Rock Island the way it is. I like my neighborhood, and I like the school, and can't we just keep things the way they are? First of all, things never should stay the way they are. What's the initial feedback you're getting from your residents on this?
As far as the industrial development area, the silicon plant, they're all thrilled that something may happen over there.
That was my next question. Have you heard from some of the potential clients who may be looking at Rock Island as a place to put their business in?
A couple interested parties.
That's good.
Yes.
I know you have to be discreet about these
Somewhat, yes. And as far as the growth happening in Rock Island, you're right. There's some of the community that they like Rock Island the way it was, but things don't stay the way they are. Early on as a mayor, someone was complaining to me about all the new development, and I politely explained to them, I don't own the land. Mm-hmm. I can't tell them no. I can't tell an orchardist he can't sell his property to a developer as long as they do what they're supposed to do.
Amen to that.
They're free to do what
Randy
they
Agnew is the mayor of Rock Island. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this program a little bit more with Randy and preview what's happening next week. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Only one country could build a truck like this. Designed in California, engineered in Michigan, tested in Arizona, and assembled in Mississippi. Powered by Cummins of Indiana. The all-new Nissan Titan. It's an American classic. Is it on your list? Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
And we're back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan Kuntz, your host, and Randy Agnew, the mayor of Rock Island, joining me to my immediate left. The history of Rock Island has always been a boom and bust kind of town. It was there, and it was kind of just hanging around. And then Burlington Northern Santa Fe realized they had to cross the Columbia River. It was the perfect spot to do it because it's really narrow. They built the bridge. Bunch of people came. Rock Island grew. Bridge was finished. Rock Island went bust again. And then in came Rock Island Dam. And Rock Island went crazy, and a bunch of people moved to town. The dam was finished, and everybody moved back out again. So it's been this for the last 100 years at Rock Island, but now you're back on this again. And hopefully this ain't going to happen again, right, Randy?
Right, hopefully.
So
it's interesting, the Rock Island Bridge was the first, at least, train bridge across the Columbia River. The Rock Island Dam was the first dam on the Columbia River, so there's a lot of historical firsts there in Rock Island. And yes, hopefully this will be able to maintain the upward climb this time.
And so what's next now? What's next on this whole this master plan that was unveiled last night with your help from Douglas County, Port of Douglas County? What's next?
Finalizing the planned action ordinance and the master site plan, getting those finalized, and then the next step is beginning to go for funding to put in the infrastructure. Yes, dollars. The infrastructure, and also looking for potential investors to do the repurposing of the smelter building and the storage building. All of Rock Island, are you familiar with opportunity zones? The entire town of Rock Island, including the IDD, is in the opportunity zone. And I think there's opportunities there to get people to invest both in the infrastructure and, you know, the conversion of the buildings to PIBA style thing.
You seem very optimistic about the future of your town.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been,
You're not a caretaker. You're
No, I am not. I bug everybody on all the boards I'm on. You know, I'm on this Land Transportation Council, and I've been telling them since I've been there we need a 4-lane freeway up to I-90 through Quincy by Rock Island. Most of the boards I'm on, I'm constantly hounding them. I don't like the pace of government coming from private business.
Right.
It's kind of like watching a snail in slow motion. It's very frustrating.
I bet. Speaking of Joe Q, taxpayer from Rock Island, Washington, it's the obvious question as we wrap this up, Randy, is for the residents of Rock Island, what's this going to cost me? Is the question they're going to ask Mayor Agnew.
The taxpayer?
Yeah, for the people who live in Rock Island, for this development to happen and to come true.
I don't think it's really going to cost them anything. I mean, we're not adding any new taxes. Since I've become mayor, we have not raised the sewer rates. Those were a bit of a shock to the people of Rock Island when they went in. They're $67 a month, which is quite a bit higher than like East Wenatchee. But we've maintained those, have not raised them at all. And most of the money would come through grants and loans from the state or federal government to be doing this, or private investors. So it's not going to cost people of Rock Island. As new homes go in, you know, you can look at the Chelan area or Leavenworth. As the place gets more and more money in it, property taxes tend to go up, not the rate itself, but the value of the land goes up.
And Rock Island isn't really geographically hemmed in. You have room for growth, and that's also a good thing.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Another nice thing about Rock Island, you have a whole lot of these people that working in the data centers up in the basin living in Wenatchee. Well, if they lived in Rock Island, they'd cut 15 minutes each way off their trip.
Yeah, which I'm all for.
Yes.
I'm all for. Randy Agnew is the mayor of Rock Island. Thanks for doing it. I'm sorry it took so long to get you on the show. That's my bad.
No problem. I really appreciate it.
We'll make it happen again.
Yes.
I really will. Everybody have yourself a great weekend. Don't forget we have high school basketball tonight. The Wenatchee Panthers and the Sunnyside Grizzlies. Doubleheader at Wenatchee High School. Then the Wildcats and the Panthers do battle at Eastmont tomorrow. Until then, take care and bye-bye.